Hey, this is Andrew Rapsis from Primal Defense Combat Systema. I'm a certified combat system instructor under Kevin's course, and today we're going to be talking all about the pelvis. Today we're going to be talking all about squats. All about squats. And today we're going to be talking all about the squat. Deep squats. Super fun. You excited? Because I am. Okay, so today we're going to be talking all about the squat, and I apologize for the tightness of this shot. It's just, this is what I'm working with today, and I can shoot it again another time. So why do we care about the squat? Well, from the perspective of combatives, we do spend a lot of time in a squat. And that's not to say that you're going to be fighting from a squat constantly, but if we look at modern day warriors fighting in combat scenarios, we do see the functionalization of the squat. What we see when training with the blue is that we end up having a posture where the squat is crucial to our mobility, our ability to move around, our ability to stay low, stay in concealment and cover. We have to be able to transition rapidly from a squat to standing, to relatively prone postures. We have to be able to transition seamlessly between all of these. And that's going to involve a good amount of mobility. It's going to involve a reasonable amount of flexibility, especially in the ankle and the calf. We want to be able to work from all these postures, moving around, being stable, being able to be pushed. And that requires us to cultivate a deep squat. Cultivating a deep squat doesn't require anything special. It requires time, commitment. The biomechanics of the squat are pretty simple to explore and begin with. We want to begin in a neutral braced posture. Our knees have slight flexion in them. Our pelvis is engaged, rotated forward, so the pubis is forward. This gives us good bracing to kick from and strike from. It also allows us to have a lot of stability, absorption, and mobility, but it doesn't really help us get to the ground fully. It helps us get to about 50%. We rotate the entire pelvis, and when we rotate the pelvis, it'll allow us to go lower. So, first posture we want to practice and begin cultivating flexibility in the pelvis for is this braced neutral posture. It is similar to monkey posture in Alexander technique. Monkey posture has a little bit more of a forward pronunciation of the relaxation and flexion associated with the hip and the knees. So in monkey posture in Alexander, we tend to have this almost horse stance posture, and we have this nice neutrality to the shoulders, and we can lean forward from here pretty comfortably and still maintain reasonably good posture. We can support ourselves on something if there was something over here. This is really useful in grappling. But we're going to take a slightly more upright monkey posture for the beginning of working on our pelvics and getting our deep squats. Okay, so pelvis rotated forward, and we're going to allow our knees to relax and move forward, our buttocks to move down, our glutes to move down, and you're going to find that there's a position where with that forward rotation of the pelvis, you can no longer descend. So you kind of come into this chair-like posture. You can see it's about as deep as I can go. And then from here, you can hold this for a little bit. You should be able to feel it in your calves, your quads, burning a little bit. Maybe practice and cultivate this, right? Going back up, what we're going to do is squeeze the buttocks, straighten out those knees, still having a little bit of a neutral braced posture. We never really want to lock out any joints. That's how we get them damaged. We want to keep a little bit of flexion, a little bit of engagement, and a little bit of relaxation simultaneously to give them mobility. And we're going to go back down, pelvis again engaged, hit that floor, and then to release that floor, we need to rotate our pelvis. Right now, the pubis is forward. We're going to bring it back, almost like a more traditional weightlifter squat. And from here, you'll notice you can descend. Descend to begin with, obviously. Descend as low as you feel comfortable with. We ideally want to keep the heels flat. If you find yourself in what might be termed a farmer squat with these heels up, that's good for other practices. For example, strengthening the ankle by going up and down. But for now, while we're just cultivating the deep squat, we want to focus on those heels being down. Hello, dog. So I would recommend doing that, to the maximum amount you can go down a couple of times. Again, pelvis forward, knees forward, find that bottom, pelvis back, down. And then what I want you to think from here is back up, quads really heavily engaged. My pelvis is still rotated back. Gonna find that position right here, again, that chair-like position, rotate forward, and it's really discernible. Rotate forward, glutes engaged, really squeezed, coming back to monkey, back down. And ideally this should flow. You can practice it in steps and stages first, and then eventually get down to a nice flow. And that's it. Now that we know how to squat, the biomechanics of our squat, what we're aiming for, how do we cultivate this deep squat where we can basically just hang out here, perform any type of operation, move up, move down, move inside the squat, moving around, right? Maintaining our balance and being able to work efficiently from this squat, especially for long periods of time. I actually spent a long time cultivating my squat. My journey started with not even being able to sit in seiza for very long. So this posture right here, the traditional Japanese T posture, I would sit in this posture when I was on paternity leave for my son and watch TV. And I could probably stay in it for about 2 minutes before my feet went numb. And I would roll my muscles with the rattan stick, really kind of allowing everything to flow. And I would transition from this seiza to what we call hunter squat, which is heel down and then this kind of butt on this ankle over here, similar to like half seiza with this leg here. Transition to seiza, hunter squat on the other side. And I'd move back and forth from this posture for an hour, maybe 2, while watching TV every single night. And that was the beginning of building the flexibility and the strength in order for me to have a good squat, but I still didn't have a hyper-functional, hyper-low squat, something I could really work from without any pain or discomfort. At some point, I started performing Simple and Sinister, which is a kettlebell routine, and part of Simple and Sinister is actually doing a very deep squat known as a prying squat. So in a prying squat, we start off with, again, that braced neutral posture. We're gonna grab our kettlebell, bring it up, grab it by the horns, and we're gonna allow the weight of the kettlebell to bring us down, controlled again. And then we're gonna set our elbows inside of our thighs, really against the knees. And you can see here, the weight of the kettlebell is gonna give you balance. You're gonna have to have your heels down. You're not gonna be able to go up. And what we're gonna do from here is use our elbows to push open our squat. Not too much, you do not wanna tear a meniscus doing this. You still need to have a level of release in those heels and rotation. But this is gonna allow us to push open those thighs. And what I found is that doing this regularly really cultivated my squat, the depth of my squat. It's going back up, back down, open, open, up, down, open, open. This is a 55-pound kettlebell, but I don't think you really need something that heavy to cultivate the squat. For me, I had a really hard time getting this squat to be as deep as it could without using the kettlebell. The final exercise that really helped develop and cultivate my squat was to have a couple of simple items. I mean, some of these are just my kids' toys, and moving them around. So really having to rotate around, perform some type of work. If you have a firearm and you wanna clean it from a squat, go ahead. You have some scrapbooking you wanna do, whatever it is, do it. Ultimately, having some quantity of items that you're gonna have to reach around, move, rearrange, perform common activities and interactions, a little bit of weight. forcing you to lift that heel, rotate, bring it back down, and find your balance inside of the deep squat. I wanted to add one more thing real quick. So very frequently when picking up an item from the floor, you will see somebody bend over and they use this fully compromised structure. My weight is all the way forward. I have this pulling going on through my hamstrings and I can't, this is really just not good. And then getting back up, very frequently you'll see people lift from the spine instead of using the pelvis. So what I would offer is, instead of using this really compromised structure for reaching items, you bring your body down. And if you can't achieve a full squat, go straight to the hunter squat. Instead, pick up the item. If you can squat, go down. You can even get into this partial squat, this nice braced posture where we're all together and tight. Pick up the item, put it down. You can practice this regularly. This is something you can do every single day because we're constantly moving between the ground and standing. What I want you to think about always though is that pelvis and rotating the pelvis forward and up and squeezing the glutes. So that's it for the deep squat. I hope that was helpful. I hope you can integrate this into your practice. I hope it helps you if you've had any barriers to achieving a nice deep functional squat, and we'll definitely talk more about the squat in the future. Thanks for watching.